Hello and welcome to another episode on Timeline, where we get to share and, of course, talk about social issues that impact and, of course, that poses as a challenge in our world today. Well, I am your host, Sharon Ajay, and of course, I'm not doing this alone. I have my co-host with me.
Hi there, I'm Hannah Omokafe Dennis, as usual, of course, on Timeline today. And we have someone special who is going to be joining us on this conversation of the topic of discuss, Morenikejimi. Hi, Morenike.
Well, Morenikejimi.
Deep.
Such a beautiful name. Morenikejimi Olaniran is a seasoned advocate, researcher, and social impact leader. She holds a degree in child development and family psychology. So put your hands together for Morenikejimi. I'm Yoruba, but it's actually, will I say it's an indictment of me not to be able to pronounce that name, in just a stretch. But I got it now. Morenikejimi, right?
Morenikejimi.
How are you doing? It's good to have you in our studio today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
We're excited to have you too. Come on.
Well, I know you might be wondering, what are we talking about today? We'll be going on a short break. When we return, we'll dive right into the program fully. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is Timeline. And today we're talking about a topic that is at the heart of our communities, and that is the safety of our children, child protection, and social institutions. And of course, it's a topic that comes close to heart because we're talking about the children and we know what it means when a child suffers or when a child is not in a position where he or she can, fend for his or herself or even protect itself from harm. Well, while we often think of families as a child's first line of defense, millions of children spend their days in another, crucial environment. Our schools and other social institutions, including churches, and of course, a lot of other social institutions, I must say. I stated this while I was stated this a while back that when it comes to children issues, it's something that comes close to heart. And it's so sad that we are even talking about this issue. It's really a sad one. It's not something we should be talking about. Children are meant to be protected. They are meant to be safeguarded and meant to be shielded from any harm and not to even be, armed by the social institutions that are meant to protect them, right?
Yeah. When it comes to social institutions, let's even define what it is. Social institutions define, leads, or is defined as those organizations, those set-up systems, those structures that are supposed to, safeguard people or in a way guide how society is supposed to move. And examples of those social institutions are education, like you have rightly mentioned, churches, mosques, religious households, schools,
community.
The economy, community, the media. That's what social institution means. And they are supposed to be able to help safeguard children. They're supposed to help grow them, their emotional stability, their economic stability, whatever it is kind of stability that they need to be able to survive this world that we are in. Social institutions are supposed to help provide them. I even forgot to mention one important one, family. And that's
very
one
important.
Of the very
important.
The very first institution, family, which is just a unit supposed to help these children. It's the first point of contact to society.
Exactly. Morenikejimi, we see that child protection is a global issue. We are, of course, not just bringing it down to Nigeria or Africa. It is something that is meant to be done by literally the world, the globe. And it pushes me to the question, and I'm throwing that to you. Why is child protection important in social institutions? Because we could see the link from the topic, child protection and social institutions. People are they're wondering, what is the linkage? What links them together? And I'd like you to answer that question.
Oh, thank you so much for that question. So why it is important? Like she said, family is the first unit. That's the place the child learn how to walk, talk, and from there to school and community to churches or mosques. So it's very important because if the unit that is supposed to hold a child together is broken, it will be difficult to have like a full and functioning adults. So most issue we are having in our country or the world is because of broken system where the parents will say, oh, the school will take care of the children. And the school is like, oh, the parents will take care. And now churches or more like, oh, they will teach about the word of God, about Bible, so they'll be able to learn. And everybody is just giving another person their own responsibility to handle. So if family, community don't mold children in the right way, put the right emotional, physical, psychological function and behavior they want the child to go, Nigeria and even the world will be in total mess because a broken child will create a broken nation, a broken community and all that. So there will be crime, there will be problem all around the world. So it's very important that every unit that is supposed to mold a child to make them strive in all area of their life, they should put their hands on deck and be serious about taking care of their children the right way.
Amazing. The World Health Organization reports in 2024 that 6 in 10 million children, that's about 400 million children, under the age of 5 suffer physical abuse, mental abuse, and all of those things. And seeing that these reports, this is a large number, 400 million children.
Yeah.
We thought children are at home being protected. What is going on? Now, this is a 2024 report. What report are we expecting in 2025? And why is this issue even being reported? And that takes us to the next question. What are policies, or how would I phrase it? I would say, how do child protection policies help protect children from, issues as these, issues where it's even the social institutions that are, bringing this harm or infusing this pain on the children? How are these policies, put in place to help protect those children from situations as that?
Okay, thank you. When we talk about the LOM Convention, which says the highest form of abuse is child labor. That's the highest form of exploitation. And when we talk about who gives these children, who make these children experience child labor, sometimes it's the family. So you understand, I will use myself as an example. When I was growing up, we believed that the only responsibility your parents have is to send you to school, provide for you food, and that is it. So your father will just say, okay, there's food at home, I've paid your school fees, and no other thing is important, right? And there are some families, when they come from school, you go and hawk, and your mom may be at home just resting, and you hawk and bring money, and they feel that, because you're a child, when you go out to hawk, people tend to buy from you. So there's still this, I don't want to say culture, there's still this cultural expectation placed on children. And when we talk about the abuse part, there's still this, let's protect the family name, it will affect the child health. And even when they hide this thing that is happening, they don't seek help for the child. They're just like, you were abused. Let's not do justice. God will judge, and everybody go inside. And they don't know that this thing breaks children. They just assume that I will not remember when he grew up. And at the end of the day, when we grow up, we'll say, we turned out well. I remember when I was a child, let me say teenager, I was describing an address for a guy, and my neighbor saw me with a guy. I was coming back from school. I went to tell my uncle that, I saw Morenikejimi with a guy. And when I got home, I was beaten. So sometimes most children, in fact, most adults, we have undenying trauma that we feel, they beat me when I was growing up, I turned out well, so I'm going to beat my children. I hawk when I was growing up, I turned out well, I had money, so my children is going to hawk. So there's this thing, and in Nigeria, we don't believe in mental health. When I say this, people be like, no, the thing is that we feel that, something happened to a girl when she was 5 years, she was abused. And before she grew up, she'll forget about it. But the thing is that people don't know that sometimes people do not forget. I still remember things that happened to me when I was 10 years old. Do you understand? I will tell you everything that happened, but people will be like, oh, she might not remember the
exact thing, or
the
maybe it was
exact
just
thing.
an imagination in your head.
Yes,
or
so
something
that's
like that.
it. So most times parents are the issue. I was talking to a neighbor yesterday. I said, we want to be a doctor. We want to be a psychology. We spent 5 years in school. Then when we want to get married or give birth to children, we are using inshallah. Like God bring the
Vibes
child.
and
God,
inshallah.
God will take care of the child. Why don't we read book? Go to seminar to know how to train children the right way, because most of us have never given birth. So first time mom, you feel it's just to give breastfeeding, clothe the child, love the child. When sometimes your love might be different from the right love.
Yeah.
So I think what we need to do is to educate parents and institutes to anything they are doing. They should implement child protection rights. But people just, it's not important.
You know, talking about, sorry,
Okay.
talking about education, I feel, okay, let's even bring it to Africa. I feel people are educated to a large extent,
Yeah.
but to do is now the problem. So I'm going to tell you about the 4 R's when it comes to child protection. We have recognize, respond, report, and record. Africans, we actually start from the recording. Yes, the recognize might be there, but for you to recognize something, you have to report it for the authorities to know that it has been recognized.
Yes.
But no, the last of it must be recorded. You know, most times when I go online, I'm scrolling online from different countries, I see different videos popping up of child abuse. And Omokafe, you were about to say something, but I would like you to start from this before you proceed to what you want to talk about.
Recording, response, and I think that's a problem in society, because when we believe that these gadgets that we're holding in our hands, these gadgets are supposed to be solutions. They're supposed to not just be solutions as a gadget alone, but they're supposed to be solutions leading us to other solutions. So this is supposed to bring every single person in the world in your phone. So you can just easily call the authorities. Hello, I feel like something is happening in this particular place that is not done well. Maybe you should come and check it, and we should have absolute response to that call that was being made. I think that's one of the problems that we have to look at. Now, but before we even start talking about the 4 R's, like my co-host here, my main host, of course, my champion here, rightly mentioned, you were talking about consequences, and you mentioned one as mental health. You mentioned one that as traumatic, that children never forget them. You might say they forget them, but they don't forget them. And this leads to cases of, like generational trauma. You move from this one to that one, and you keep carrying it. So list out some of those consequences, because you mentioned them like just along. So I want you to list it out, be specific about it. Those consequences that are there when you maltreat children, when children are not safe in your hands, how are they?
Okay, thank you. First and foremost, I'll talk about the mental health first. So, I work with teenagers, and most times when I'm saying, I work with teenagers, I was like, what do they even know? Others don't have problem. They are feeding them, they are clothing them. I think that's one misconception people have. That, as I'm feeding my children, they don't have problems. So I've had opportunity to speak to thousands of teenagers, and I'm just like, what are your parents doing? Like, do you understand what they are going through a lot? And like I said earlier, that people still don't believe in mental health. So where teenager is having anxiety, they feel worthless. Some even get to depression, start taking substance, and you will hear parents say, "Oh, my child is a good child." Do you understand? Because the child is showing you what he or she wants you to see. Another one is trauma. I always tell people that when we talk about abuse, either physical, sexually, neglect, even neglect is an abuse where your family just abandon you. They don't care about your mental or your social.
Or even physical life, what you eat, what you drink.
Do. It also affects. And this thing, some people will say, I turned out well. But people don't know the power of seeking for help, either therapy or counseling, and you just feel that, this have happened to me, it happened when I was little. Sometimes you might find yourself in a particular situation and you just feel like doing it.
You know what, we're going to talk about practices that I will target mentally insane. But before we do that, we're going to go on a short break. And of course, I know you're enjoying all of this, but when we return, we'll dive right into more conversations in regards to this. Stay with us.
everybody has a stake in making the world a better place with love and compassion. As we thrive daily, we continue to strive to face the many challenges that faces our Earth, because together, we all matter. On one side, we are exploring the captivating stories, the trends, the glamour, while on the other hand, we're looking at the love, the care and compassion from our champions. In our Stars Quiet Cove lies the burning passion for humanity, which is seldom known and unsung to the world. Join me on Famed to look at the flip side of your favorite beyond the regular.
This is the show where stories of women's achievement meet the solutions our world needs today. In a world where challenges abound, women rise above, turning obstacles to opportunities and dreams into lasting impact. They are leaders, they are innovators, they are change makers. From classrooms to boardrooms, from communities to global stages, these women are breaking barriers and shaping our world. Empower is not just a conversation. It's a celebration of courage, resilience, and vision. Join me as I spotlight women who transform society. This is Empower with an H on Youth Network.
Welcome back. This is Timeline. Of course, we would, usually there are lots of social commentaries. When we talk about issues like this, just trust the social, space to be bubbling. And Omokafe, kindly take us through what people are saying.
So we have a lot that's going to soon pop up here on the screen. And number one is from UNICEF. Now, UNICEF says that a crisis for children is a crisis for all of us. But when we invest in children, the returns are extraordinary. Decades of evidence prove that smart investments in child health, education, protection, and resilience do not just save lives, they build stronger, safer, and more prosperous society. UNICEF will not stop advocating. And this is something, like Morenikejimi was mentioning earlier, that she was mentioning about how people need to start seeking therapy when it comes to their childhood trauma, because when you seek therapy, it ends the generational, should I use the word curse? It stops it with you. So you are not taking it away, or you're not transferring it to your own children. I'm going to be saying the next tweet. The next tweet is from, it's from the governor of, she's a Mexican governor, and she says, "We did it, New Mexico. Yesterday, we made history as the first state in the nation to guarantee no-cost childcare for every family. This is a game changer for parents, kids, and communities across our states, and a blueprint for the nation." Now, this is simply saying that a family can raise children without necessarily having to be the one to pay for it. So like you mentioned earlier, where children are made to hawk, children are made to go outside to go and fend for food for themselves, or even for their families alone, because the parents say, because I hawk, so it means my child too will hawk and they'll be fine. In this particular case right here, there is a new policy. It means that if you don't give your child food, don't worry, the government is going to do it for you. If you decide that even if you adopted the children, you are a foster parent for the child, you gave birth to the child biologically, this is a no-care kind of policy where we are going to specially fund the child for you till the child is grown enough to be able to take care of themselves. And that helps solve some of the problems in our society, the economic part of our society. So your child has free education, your child has free food, your child has free clothes, and everything is sorted out. Now we'll go to the next tweet, which is another one from UNICEF saying that Lenka and Aka play with their 6-month-old baby in Serbia. Like no one else, parents shape the experiences that set their children on a path toward healthy emotional development. Now take a good look at this line. Parents shape the experiences that set their children on a path toward healthy emotional development. So imagine now I go out as a child and I'm talking to my secondary school mates, and then somebody sees me and goes to tell another parent who had experienced that they will beat the living daylight out of their child, girl children, I do not want you to go astray, or I'm helping you. That's why I'm doing this.
But the annoying part about that is that when the girl get to 12 or 13, they will not be saying, can't you provide part for yourself?
Yeah.
Is it not your mate that is taking care of
Exactly.
themselves?
You.
It seems that guy like you. You understand?
Can
And
you
before you know
imagine?
it, when are you getting married?
Oh my
And you're
goodness.
like, I don't understand. This was something you're flogging
me about.
So it's
a lot of problems.
Well, UNICEF, it's amazing what UNICEF, what the organization
children,
is
of
doing.
course.
They're currently working with 150 countries to prevent child, abuse, child labor.
Yeah.
They're working with the government, institutions of
have
those
policies
countries,
all
and
around.
it's a good thing. What just like I said, what UNICEF they're doing, and I just hope that they work with other countries to help curb this child menace going on in those countries. We're about to talk about how culture can, affect the safety of children. In some areas, Africa, if I must say, you would see when they say, oh, they gave birth to a child after she had lost another child. So this child they give the child a name. Some can, in Yoruba, they say above. I don't know. I don't want to say something I don't know. You get what I'm saying?
There's some they call Abiku, and they don't know their SS. They think it's Mami water.
Came back,
Yeah.
die and came
And
back.
all of that, some might even act towards the child in a not so nice way, because that is the orientation the mother or the parent had gotten before giving birth to that child. And you see that the child is not being treated as other children because they feel like it's the coming back of the dead child or something. And other practices, they will tell you this child is a witch just because the child did not talk on time.
Yes.
Just because the child did not walk on time. And all of that. There was a UNICEF lady at one point, she was going viral on social media. She picked up a child that they had tagged a witch.
Yes.
A boy that was not, I don't think it was up to 2 years. That boy, she named him Hope. And he's now doing well, although he's deaf and dumb, and I guess it's because of the trauma he went through while he was a child. That child was neglected. The picture even still goes online.
Yes.
He was skinny and no one was giving him food. They tagged him a witch. And when you see people having this kind of ideology, you begin to wonder what is going on. Because in those areas, there is no how those children can be protected if the whole of the community have that idea. And remember, community is part of social institutions.
Yeah.
Now that leads us to our question. How can social institutions, community as this and other communities build trust, with children, build trust in such a way that they can be able to give the child or children the protection that they need?
I think firstly, there's a whole lot of policy, but we don't follow it. Do you understand? We don't follow it. You will go to, there was one case I was working with an organization on abuse for an 8 years old. And when we got there and the parents were like, I don't want our family image to spoil. So the abuser settled the family. I think it was 200,000. And the parents just kept quiet, and that was it. So there's a whole lot of things. There's a lot of cultural issue where you say, as the first daughter, you are the mommy, you are the small mommy. So your mother will give birth to plenty children, and they expect you to sponsor them in school, and they expect you to take care of them like your small mommy. So there's a whole lot of responsibility, even for their male child. I grew up in Benin, sorry to say, and you see parents, once you finish primary school, or GS3, your father will take you to a place called HK. I don't know if you know. HK is to go and learn Yahoo.
Can you imagine?
They would rather pay money for you to learn Yahoo than to go to school. Because even when you go to school, I do a lot of community impact, and you go to school, you hear principals saying, if you like go to school, there is no work, there is no work, better still go and learn Yahoo. You hear a principal saying that. So all these things that you think, I'm just saying it, is fun, is joke. Those children is registering in their mind, right? So I think parents, community, we need to do better. We need to do better if it's to seek knowledge. Because sometimes when you talk, they'll be like, because you're a feminist. Because you're a feminist. You understand? So sometimes I went to a community and I was talking in Abuja, and the person was like, are you married? I was like, yes. The man that married you is trying.
Imagine?
Are you sure you're not the one controlling him? Why? Because we're educating the women there. Women empowerment, why women should have their money, why they should not get involved with child marriage for their children. So you understand there's still a lot of cultural norms that people still carry, even if we're in 21st century. So I don't awareness. NGOs are doing incredible. But the thing is that you will go to a community to do a project. We went to a community in Ekiti to do a project of FGM, and we're talking to the chiefs and after everything, they were like, all these things that they talk, so that story, I go still circumcise my picky. Don't baby one but picky will go they sleep around. So you realize that the more people are trying to empower these people, but their mind is just made up.
Laggards, what they are called.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you bring these people for policy, for conferences to do this thing, and they will do another thing. At the end of the day, is what you are empowering them about. They are doing it at home. You see somebody beating the wife, and the person is advocating for gender-based violence. So there's a whole lot of issue. And I feel how we can protect children is for policy makers and the law to be able to say, if you do this, if you abuse a child, give birth to the number of children you can take care of. If you abuse a child, this is the year you are going to spend in prison, no matter your socioeconomic background, that you are rich or poor. I think that will bring some sanity to
Do you know some of those laws that we have in Nigeria or even worldwide, globally? So
we have the United Nations Convention for Children, where they said all children are supposed to survive emotionally, physically, and mentally, so that they were able to strive. We also have the LOM Convention, where they said child labor is the highest form of exploitation. Yeah. But do we do those things? Do you understand? You still go to, I don't even think it's too rampant in Abuja. Like go to a market in Ogun State or in Abuja, if you still see children, they are supposed to be in school, but they are hawking. So when law enforcement see them, what do they do? Do you understand? Imagine picking the child, take us to your parents, let's go and, you understand? Coach the parents. Why is your child supposed to be in school? If there are laws, everybody will put their hand on deck. Parents will give birth to how many children? Not like it's God that provides. God will take care of them. And you're giving birth to 7 children. And you're earning 20,000.
So we have to start from those social institutions.
Exactly.
Families.
It's very important. Rightly said. See, just like you said, awareness, it's so important. When it comes to awareness, even those that are aware still do this. And it defeats the whole purpose of SDG 16 that talks about peace, justice, and, strong institution. And if this is where we are in 2024, as just what the World Health Organization, the report they gave in 2024, if we still have 400 million children still, suffering from abuses, then we're not, of course, we're not close to the target, I would say. And they are those are the ones recorded. So what reports are we waiting for in 2025? And we're hoping that in 2030, we'd have peace, we'd have justice, we'd have strong institutions. And we're just hoping that all of this that we're doing and all of the other organizations, NGOs, going about to raise awareness about the need for child protection, I hope they are being heard. And I hope that those that need to be aware take it. See, this thing is it has eaten deep, it's deep rooted into them, their cultural, mindset. It has eaten deep into them, it has destroyed them. And I just hope that what needs to be put in place, could it be laws, implementations of laws, passing of bills, whatsoever it might be, our children have to be protected no matter what.
And taught skills too, because to conclude on my own part, the other day we were talking about Malawi, and they had to do something called partnership and collaboration, and that is one of the SDG things we get to talk about, the last SDG, partnership and collaboration, and collaborated with the Malawian University of Science and Technology and UNICEF UK, and together they were able to teach some students, young students, like 15 years, 8th graders in Malawi to, they taught them about climate change, climate action, and together with that 15-year-old has decided to team up with his own mates, and they created a drone where they could plant trees in areas that were affected by flood in their community. Now that is taking that child away from what he would have probably done. Maybe he would have left school or anything, but then he's putting some knowledge in you. So that social institution helps him, school as a social institution, family as a social institution, his community as a social institution, and that's what we have been talking about since.
Thank you so much.
I just want to add, and I also feel when we talk about social institution, parents should also know that it's not only Bible or Quran your children is supposed to know.
Yes.
It's not only some children are book smart. I've gone to community, they are very good, but when you ask self-esteem, they have never held. In this Abuja, they say, what's self-esteem? Boundaries. body autonomy. They don't know what it is. So it's very important. I want them to know maths, know English, know Bible, know the story, know the 10 Commandments. Also teach them like a social skills they are supposed to know, like self-esteem, like sex education.
Yes.
Not that you are teaching them about sex education means you are encouraging them to have sex so that they will be able to protect themselves.
Yes, exactly. Awareness is truly important, I must say. And we've said a lot, children are the leaders of tomorrow. We can't be raising traumatized leaders. If we're raising traumatized leaders, then I bet you in few years to come, we would be in jeopardy. The world would be in chaos. I must say thank you once again, Morenikejimi. Thank you, Omo Cafe. It has truly been an insightful conversation. And you could see that I was all up in my emotions because we're talking about children. And when it gets to children, trust the woman to be all up in her emotions, I must say. Well, that's where we draw the line and call it a wrap on Timeline. I hope you learned one or two, and I hope you're gonna pick, the solutions that we prefer and, fix it or work with it in your community and the society and the globe, of course, at large. Where I am your host, Sharon Ajay. Until next time, see you again.